In 1913, if you saw an airplane, you were likely watching someone risk their life. A decade after the Wright brothers, aircraft were still flimsy, unreliable contraptions reserved for daredevil stunts or military scouting. The entire aviation industry survived on selling tickets to exhibition shows. Crowds packed into halls and grandstands to watch aviators perform loops and drops, waiting for a spectacle or a crash. Airplanes were novelties, not tools for getting people from point A to point B. If these machines were going to survive long-term, they had to evolve. Someone needed to figure out how to take the airplane out of the circus and turn it into a dependable, schedule-driven public utility. Down in Florida, the sun-drenched cities of St. Petersburg and Tampa were booming, but they shared a severe geographic bottleneck. Looking at this map of Tampa Bay, you can see the two cities sit only 21 miles apart across the water. But if you actually wanted to travel between them in 1913, you faced a 2-hour steamship ride or a brutal 12-hour train trip winding all the way around the bay. An electrical engineer named Percival Fansler saw a solution. He realized that a flying boat, specifically the overwater airboats built by aircraft manufacturer Thomas Benoist, could skip over the bay entirely. Getting his hands on a plane was the easy part. To actually bypass this bottleneck, Fansler had to invent the commercial airline business model from scratch to ensure the daily crossings wouldn't bankrupt them. On New Year's Day 1914, 3,000 spectators gathered on the sunny beaches of St. Petersburg. An Italian band played, and a small wooden aircraft bobbed in the harbor. To fund the inaugural flight, the organizers held a public auction. Former St. Petersburg Mayor Abram Fail placed the winning bid of $400, which is nearly $10,000 today, for the single passenger seat. Pilot Tony Janis fired up the engine, skimmed the water, and flew file 50 feet above the sparkling bay. They touched down in Tampa exactly 23 minutes later. This photograph captures the trio, Fansler on the left, File in the center, and Janis on the right, standing proudly by the Benoist airboat. The 23-minute crossing made headlines, but the real achievement began the next morning. Instead of packing up and moving to the next town, Janis flew the exact same route again, and then again the next day. They had launched a daily scheduled service. This infographic breaks down how Fansler kept the planes in the air. A $50 daily subsidy offset the risk. They added a $5 passenger ticket with a 200-pound limit and a cargo stream charging $5 per 100 pounds. They combined community subsidies, strict baggage limits, scheduled ticketing, and cargo freight. It is the exact same financial math that keeps commercial aviation afloat today. The operation ran smoothly until a Tampa port inspector approached the aircraft and demanded to see a license. Since commercial airplanes didn't really exist yet, neither did aviation laws. The U.S. Department of Commerce had to step in and make a ruling. They decided that because the flying boat operated over the bay, it was legally classified as a motorboat and subject to maritime rules. The airline submitted to the regulations and added their own strict internal protocols. They instituted a pilot's choice rule, giving Tony Janis the absolute authority to cancel a flight if the weather or mechanics looked unsafe. By embracing government oversight and placing safety ahead of stunts, the St. Petersburg-Tampa Airboat Line proved to a deeply skeptical public that flying could be a legitimate, reliable mode of public transport. The experiment ran for roughly 3 months. As the winter tour season faded and the crowds went back north, the airline suspected its daily operations. This dashboard shows their 90-day final metrics. The tiny Benoist airboat successfully carried 1,205 passengers across 11,000 total miles. Even more impressive is their mechanical reliability. The airline was grounded for maintenance only 4 days, yielding a 95% operational success rate. Fansler and Benoist ultimately broke even on the balance sheet, but those 90 days produced the raw, undeniable data required to prove that a commercial airline was both practical and safe. After closing, builder Thomas Benoist looked at their accomplishments and made a prediction. Someday, people will be crossing oceans on airliners like they do on steamships today. Every time you buy a ticket, check bags against a weight limit, or wait for a scheduled departure, you are participating in the system engineered by Percival Fansler in 1914. The massive, multi-billion-dollar aviation industry we rely on today is simply a scaled-up version of a 3-month tropical experiment on the waters of Tampa Bay.